Hey, this video is going to be a little, not all over the place, but it has a few different topics. They all relate. Right, so some things you might not know about me. I'm an Africana Studies minor. I actually just finished up my minor this year, all my requirements for it. And, one of the last requirements for, Africana Studies minor is this seminars class where you have to write a research paper, 20 pages minimum. So, the research paper could be on anything related to Africana Studies, in any form, really. So I did mine on hair. And the topic of my paper, excuse me, my laptop is here. It was media influence on African American women's hairstyling. It went deeper than that, but that was the surface. And I wanted to talk about this for a while now. Like since I started writing this paper back in the end of February, beginning of March, I wanted to make a video about this, but I figured let me finish writing it. Then I saw a Chime, a hair crush. I don't know if any of you slept to her, but her hair is amazing. It's like waist long, beautiful, natural hair. And she had made a video talking about why she went natural, and she had touched on some of the topics that I addressed in this paper. Now, this is not the reason I went natural. However, I am like such an advocate now, and I try not to be. But with the information that I've found, well, you'll understand by the end of this video. So I'm not gonna read you my paper, obviously, but I'm gonna touch on some things. So I started with, and these are all, I'm not gonna get into my sources and everything, but there's a list of sources, magazines, books, articles. This is all credible stuff. I didn't make any of this up. So to start with some statistics. Girls ages 8 to 18 watch an average of 152 films a year and 3.5 hours of TV a day. And according to statistics from 2004, 95% of white girls and 86% of black girls ages 12 to 17 read teen magazines at least occasionally, and more than half of white girls read every issue of at least one magazine. Now, I had to address more than one race just to give, not a rebuttal, but more dimension to this paper and to this argument period. So, about 10% of advertisements in issues of Ebony and Essence magazines, these are black magazines, are for hair care products, most of which were straighteners. Most of the articles and advertisements showed women with light skin, slim noses, chemically altered or naturally straight hair. In a review of 12 issues of Essence, an average of 15 women per issue were light-skinned, an average of 2 per issue were dark-skinned, and the majority of women in the ads had straight hair, and an average of 2 women per issue had their hair natural. So there's this sociologist, her name is Dawn Curry. She did a series of focus groups with teenage girls, and found that girls primarily read magazines to find tips and advice on how to help deal with their problems. The problem with this is these magazines only acknowledge certain kinds of problems that and solutions that limit girls' ability to come up with solutions themselves. So, like for instance, when addressing a curly-haired women or girls who want their hair straight, there'll be an advertisement article offering either something to enhance, something to perfect, whatever curl they have, or a straightener, more than not a straightener and straightening products, rather than telling the girl to accept herself for who she is, who she is beautiful. It's always something to be fixed. There is this social psychologist, his name is Leon Festinger, and in 1954 he came up with this idea called the social comparison theory. And what this is basically, it explains how individuals make judgments about themselves based on what they see in others, and not just, any others, more than not when they compare themselves to someone similar to them. So, if we're using the media as an example, many white women will compare themselves to other white women, and many black women will compare themselves to other black women. Now, when I read this, I thought my paper was going to be, skewed, because my argument was that the media has a lot to do with why black women and women with kinky, curly hair straighten it. But then when I thought about this, black women look to media, for a comparison or whatever. So, for instance, Beyonce, just whatever. That's the main. She's even Oprah. You know, we can go with whoever. You can pick any major face of the media of black women. Okay, most of them have straight hair. Most. And then you gotta think, well, where did it all start? You know, like, where'd they get it? Where did the idea that straightening your hair, you know, was the way for things to be done, was the thing to do? So then I had to look at history. And I know many people know about the history of this country and maybe even the history of black hair. And I did too, to an extent, but I did not know how deep it went. And I just want to give some insight. So what I found was, and I'm going to use the term black hair just to refer to, you know, African American, African, curly, kinky, coarse hair. When I say black hair, that's what I'm talking about. So black hair, you know, has been historically devalued as the most visible stigmata of blackness, you know, second only to skin. And what I mean by that is when you look at an African American person or a black person, you know they're black immediately by the color of their skin. The next is their hair texture. Period. You know, in history, when slavery existed in America, Europeans took advantage of this difference and used this physical characteristic or characteristics of African Americans to claim them as inferior. So their dark skin, you know, Europeans would claim that's lower than us, that's beneath us. Your kinky hair, that's beneath us. And this continued for years, as long as slavery existed here. Europeans associated thick lips, dark skin, and especially kinky hair with savagery. Okay, this is stuff from books that I've gotten. So the biggest thing is African American press in the late 19th and early 20th century. And to my topic, the media, right? Huge advocate to why we straighten our hair today. Black media, the black press, the Washington Bee, for example, they had advertisements that said things like, take out the kink, and would you like your face lighter colored for every important occasion, you know, like for skin lighteners? The Washington Bee ran an editorial that proposed that God discriminated against African American women when he gave them kinky hair. The Colored American magazine, which is claimed to have little to no concern with, you know, European doings, okay, also had a very narrow image of African Americans, especially women, you know, promoting light-skinned women with long straight hair and advertising products for straight or straightened hair. They had advertisements that promised to remove black skin and to turn the skin of a black or brown person 4 or 5 shades lighter. In an ad for this product, Black Skin Remover, they had a picture of the silhouette in this book that I read of a black woman. Black skin, really kinky hair, I think it was up in a bun. And there was a mirror image of the silhouette of a white, I swear, a white woman. Didn't even look black. White woman. Completely different, you know, angled nose, white skin, straight hair. I was like, different authors feel different ways. One said that she felt that those who straighten or perm their hair exhibit a manifestation of internalized racism. And, you know, she says internalized racism occurs when members of an oppressed group internalize the myths and stereotypes about them. All the authors pretty much agree that internalized racism is, you know, seeing the world in a way that upholds white supremacist values and aesthetics, you know, that contradicts one's own personal culture. Black people thinking, you know, upholding the idea that straight hair is beautiful when that completely contradicts what grows out of our scalps. You know, we don't have straight hair naturally. That was never how it was meant to be. And then everything is connected. So you can say, you know, oh, I don't, you know, that's not in me. I'm not internally racist. I don't hate myself or my culture. You know, and that's all fine, you know, to each their own. But it's kind of evident even in the language that we use to talk about black hair and skin tone, you know, the politics of our culture. So, for instance, we have the terms good hair, bad hair, light skin, dark skin. You know, good hair being hair that's closer to that of a European descended person, being the looser curl. The looser the curl, the better the hair. The better grade your hair is. So, you know, oh, her hair's... Basically what you're saying is, oh, your hair is more close to a white person than this one. Your hair is good. Because your hair is more close to that of, you know, someone of African descent. Your hair is bad. Like, does that make any sense? And I can't say anything because I'm definitely a victim of this myself. This is all things that I used to believe and things I would say, not that bluntly, but the good hair, bad hair thing. And I used to say about myself, oh, I can't go, I could never not get a relaxer. I don't have good hair. And because I'm half Hispanic, people would say, oh, you probably have good hair. If you just stop getting a relaxer, you could just let it out and have really nice curls. Like, what are nice curls? So then, back to the media concept of things. The mass media nurtures the idea that changing your image will change your identity. So, even in teen magazines, especially, articles and advertisements only recognize mainly two problems: the need to look more attractive and the need to get a boyfriend. And the only solutions they offer are using and buying beauty products. And I understand, because magazines are businesses, but it is affecting people who read these things. The media gets you when you're young. Even for little black girls, the perm boxes that there are, motions for kids, which allows hair to be blown straighter. That's what they put on their box. Just for me, a no-lie conditioning cream relaxer, children's formula. So one quote from one of these books says, since the beauty standards in America are set according to white aesthetic, from Miss America to the Barbie doll, black women are left with precious few places to find an image of beauty that showcases unstraightened tresses and natural styles. And that's, that's really what I feel like it comes down to. That was the argument of my paper. So, I wanted to make that point. Like, this is not why I went natural. I went natural because I wanted healthier hair. But after researching all that information for that paper, and this is only the surface, like, I really wish I probably could have did a documentary while I was writing this paper, because I felt so strongly reading these things. Like, I always wanted to upload a video, but it was so random, and I wanted to kind of get all my thoughts together. So that was the main gist of it, and feel free to comment whatever you like. I have a feeling this is going to be a controversial topic, even though I feel like it shouldn't be, but feel free to put whatever opinion you have. This is just, what I read, what my take on it is, and what it comes down to is I love my natural, curly, kinky, nappy, whatever you want to call it, hair. The hair that grows out of my scalp, the way it was intended to be. I love it. And to those of you transitioning, my biggest thing I would have to say is, don't expect your hair to look like someone else's. Like, I know a lot of you say to me, oh man, I think we have similar textures. Don't psych yourself out, because I thought my hair was going to look a lot like someone else's that I was subscribing to, and it completely doesn't at all. However, I still love my hair, thank goodness. Because, you know what I mean? If you go in with an idea expecting your hair to look like something, and it doesn't, you might be disappointed. Just let your hair grow out if you didn't do the big chop and you're transitioning, and just really accept. And even as Chime said in her video, go check her out if you haven't seen it already. Just learn and pray, she said, to accept your hair for what it is. And you'll be so much happier with yourself at the end of the day. And that's how I feel. So that's my 2 cents. I'm done. And I'll see you in another video soon.